Hey, so in this video, we'll cover problem number 2, the problem with your candidate attraction process. Now, I've used the word attraction, and for those who've been following us for 5 years plus, you know that's a term I used to use in those days, attract. I'm actually using it now just to really, because it's a word that resonates with a lot of people. But really, we want a more direct access to our candidates. So the problem with your candidate attainment is really what we're dealing with, okay? So that's the second problem. So just to recap, video number 1, we've gone through the grinders and rainmakers in recruitment search. Video number 2, we've gone through the client problem, getting the premium clients and the premium roles in a retained manner. So candidates. So finding, assessing, and engaging with the top talent is mission critical to the attainment of your revenue figures, or indeed profit figures. And there are 3 core prohibitors that prevent you from getting the correctly skilled candidates quickly, engaged, and in your inbox. So the right skilled candidates. Number 1, first accelerator, quality. If you want to hire the best candidates in return for the higher fees, you absolutely must be selecting from the top 15, 10, even 5% of your market consistently. Again, if there's 10,000 candidates in your marketplace, or there's 1,000 that could fill that role, you really should have access to the top 50 of that 1,000. It means, first of all, gaining access to that full candidate pool. So the 90% plus, as we've addressed previously. Then validating the top few percent of that pool before you present to your client. So we've got the pool, then we want to validate, then we present. Accelerate number 2, cost. Having spent the time to get the role and not having the right talent immediately, it's a big risk. So if you've got the role in, you've got the client, you've got the role, but you've actually then got to chase the candidate and you've not got immediate access to them, so speed, you haven't got the speed, that's a big risk. All the time you put into the client attainment process. So losing that role as the candidate was delivered late, it's a huge expense. And one that really should not be happening if a system is in place already that covers the candidate pool. So really there's 2 parts to this. If we've got a candidate pool of, say, 90% is 9,000. Number 1, we want to have it segmented and we can access it immediately with what we call campaign automation. But then also we want nurturing automation, which runs for a year plus. That means you're always giving them value, you're always front of mind in an automated fashion. So you're going to get that quick response, but also you've got that value perception from the candidate to you. So even worse than sending a lower quality candidate who later lets the client down. So you send the candidate, lets the client down. So that then damages your relationship. So you send the candidate across, they let the client down, so whether they leave, they perform poorly. The cost for the client of making that bad hire costs them a lot of money. If you've given a bad hire to an HR director or a talent acquisition manager, and indeed, what's their upstream going to be perceiving of them? What's the line manager going to be saying to them? They're going to be kicking them all around that office. So you can't get that wrong. So if I look at a member and they've got repeat business, or as the gentleman I showed you on video 1, he's gone from a 80k year to 8x in the following year. How's that possible? How's that possible? It's possible we've got a system, but if you notice, one of the things he said was providing the full marketing team to them, actually the full marketing team. So the first hire is incredibly important because then avenues open up. Next, speed, accelerate number 3. The niches with more availability of candidates must move from the job board where the quality will be lower than ever seen before. And you must have a system that identifies, filters, and engages the candidates quicker than ever before. So if you're dependent on job boards, who are on job boards? The candidates who can't get jobs, the candidates who've left their job, the candidates who are poor at their job. Do you want to be sending them to your clients? So reliance on job boards and hit and hope, LinkedIn emails is going to be a nail in the coffin for a lot of businesses. Not only corporate businesses, but also for recruitment search business owners who I'm talking to right now. It's huge for you, but a massive opportunity. So the cost of not having this system in place, which can cover 90% of the market, run a campaign and get a response from up to 75% of the targeted candidates in 24 hours max. So say it again, if you've got 90% of your market, so say that there's 1,000 candidates, you're 900, and you get a response rate from 75% of them. So it's about 7,000. And you get that response rate. That's a pretty cool place to be. If you've got a segmented data set of, say, you've really narrowed it down, it's just 100 candidates that you want, or even just 10 candidates that you want. and you get that response rate within 1 to 24 hours, huge for you. You got the candidate, but also it's a USP to the client that I'll come to shortly. So the reason why you're stuck in terms of the candidate side of things, number one, the existing candidate recruitment model is broken. The existing candidate search model is broken. So whether you're in a staffing agency or whether you're in a search agency or whether it's your business, somebody else's business, what are you doing, for example, in search? You're searching for a specific candidate. That specific candidate exists somewhere in a company right now, probably. So why not have all of those already in your ecosystem that I'll come to? I'll show you a mapping in a minute in an org chart. So the root cause of this problem is standard methods used to find talent are broken. So whether you're doing this yourself or using someone else to recruit C-suite, VP or directors for your PVC projects, the process is the same. You rely heavily on LinkedIn messaging and email searches. You identify candidates on LinkedIn using keywords, connect, and send a message. That's what everyone does. But it's outdated and it's used by hundreds of thousands of recruiters just like you. You might use emails to attempt to contact candidates, but we know they both have a poor conversion rate, a poor metric, and they're both slow methods. So what happens is you'll sink into a sea of sameness where 1 in 15 on LinkedIn are a recruiter or internal recruitment or looking to be a recruiter. And the strategy you're using is actually the same as everyone else on LinkedIn. So why is it that you've got this problem? Next, the candidate situation has changed. So busy professionals and good professionals often have an email response rate of 3 to 12%. Now this can be even lower in industries such as medical or C-suite or aviation, which means a low number of candidates actually getting the message, let alone you attempting to cover 90% of the marketplace. So you see all the way through, the metrics just don't match what recruitment does and what search does and have been taught and have been shown, and what has worked is getting less and less successful. And the metrics show that. This isn't my opinion. These are metrics. It's my opinion that I would rather run a business in this way, but someone else may not too. That's also cool. But the metrics are binary. You can't dispute the metric. So running any online strategy, let's face it, every business nowadays is online, needs to start with assessment of their avatar. So think about this. Will a 63-year-old CEO be on LinkedIn all day? Will they be on Facebook? Will a medical doctor be responding to emails throughout the day? What do you think? So posting advertisements online and offline, this no longer works either. So placing ads online, offline, magazines, newspapers, trade fairs, social media sites, it's reactive and it relies on the candidate looking for the role. I was called into a company in North London years ago now. They were doing pay-per-click advertising for candidates and I was absolutely blown away. The marketplace they're in, it wasn't a market whereby the candidate is a needle in a haystack. But the actual guidance for that strategy came from their marketing director. Their marketing director was the previous marketing director of one of the biggest companies everyone would know this. If you're above the age of 30, you'd know this company. But that's what I mean about the lack of understanding around what we're looking to achieve. I want to get to 1 million, or we want to get to 10 million, and the strategies being used are just fundamentally flawed. They're flawed. And the same applies with what used to work offline. Now, the candidate will likely be a candidate that's not in employment. So if you're posting on an advertisement online, the candidate that's actually going to find that and look for that will be someone who's actively looking for work. So that those are the candidates you don't want. They've been sacked. They can't be hired. So the model's broken. If you're in a big market whereby, we have if I go back a few years, one of my members in nursing in the USA, and when he came to us, I can't remember his exact database right now, but what I do know is we do what we call a hot seat inside our group, where a member comes on the call and they share their story for what they've just done. And this gentleman had 500,000 nurses in his database. Every day he was getting inbound 1,000 applications per day inbound. So of course, but when he joined us, it was nothing like that. So that model didn't happen overnight. But what we did have was we took the view of, right, if we can get all the nurses, and then we have a system whereby they apply for the role, and then we filter it out, and of course someone else will actually do the human engagement with that sort of role. But what it means is, though, we've identified all the nurses in the industry, let's get them all. Then we can run a campaign and they come in our inbox. So we know that we've we control all the data. So we're only going to send that out to those who we actually want. So if you post ads, you're not in control of that. It's organic. You don't know who's going to be seeing that, but you can take it sure as damn it that it's going to be those who you actually don't want to put forward to the client. And it's a lower level of candidate. Number 5, the job board databases are where the low-level candidates live. I've just covered this. So those who post a resume on job boards, you don't want them. Send a blast to your candidate database. Most recruitment search databases have poor coverage. So that means that, let's say, for example, there's 100,000 clients in your niche. You've got 30,000 in your database, 30%. In this case, candidates, 30,000 candidates. So sometimes we have a member come to us and they've got literally nothing. They're in a startup business. We have those come to us, we've got 80,000 and it's a complete pig's ear. And maybe we go for a segmenting exercise and clean up the database. Maybe it's a start again. Often you can clean up the database and get it segmented. A little bit of work involved that the business owner doesn't do, but a set of steps you go through. But the blast to your candidate database doesn't work because we've got poor coverage, we've got poor segmentation. And more importantly, you've not nurtured them in any way. So we're going to have an automated nurturing process where we nurture them for days, weeks, months, even years. We had a member apply, and he did join us, who's been following us for 8 years. So if you send out a non-targeted email to candidates on these database, you're going to be really be sure you're not going to be getting the top 5% of candidates. If you've got a database whereby you've not got it updated, you may have candidates who are not in their correct industry or in the correct role. So you send out this email blast and you sat there waiting, or you get responses. It means more work to fix what comes in your inbox because it's not targeted. Again, that's hope, not a strategy. Database cold calling. Now, I'm trying not to swear. I promise it's going to be one of my new better habits. I swear probably too often. It's not from a place of crudeness, it's from a place of passion. My father was in the military and I probably learned a few blue words from my dad over the years. But again, he's a very gentle man, so I try not to swear. But I've said pisses off candidates here. So you've got to think about your candidate, who you're dealing with. If we're cold calling them and they're in the middle of a meeting, or cold calling at work, or they're in the middle of something bad happening, or they're at home and the wife's just, or the spouse is just fill in the blank, it's going to annoy them. It's going to frustrate them. So it damages your position. It's not a cool way to get the top 5%. Sales recruiters. So what I mean by that is recruiters do sales. So the constraints of this, if you think about what you're looking to do, or if you've got someone working for you, and we've got a number of different roles to choose from. By proxy, if you ran a test, if you had 10 roles, the salesperson is going to take the easier role to fill the first time round. As a business owner, you want the best role with the best fee and the best chance of conversion and the best timeline. Those 4 variables don't tie in with what general recruiting businesses do. So if you haven't got all the candidates in shape, you may well just fill the role for the candidates you do have. You start making decisions based on ease, not on actual getting to 1 million or whatever your figure is. So having a system that brings in an exact amount of inbound replies. So say, for example, you know that you send out 100, you get 37 back. You've got something that's predictable. Then you direct the candidate, you follow up on these 37. So you control what they do, what the recruiter does. So you define the campaigns, you define the action. Your competitors. Now, you share the same talent pool as your competitors, unless you do what I'm doing here. And by the way, in all my years doing this, I've never had one business ever who's done this ever. Ever. And as John Saul said years ago, he said, it's like a light bulb went off when I started seeing the way that you operate inside RMI. So you're using the same talent pool as your competitors. You're using the same search activity. You're on the same platforms. You're doing the same things. You may be trying to make it a bit smarter and polishing up a little bit, but you're doing the same things. You've got the same options. So those that reply to you have probably been inundated already, and they've probably possibly been being rejected already. So again, we want the top 15, 10, even 5%. Those who are not looking, we want an asset. If you've got 90% in your talent pool, in your ecosystem, you've got an asset in terms of selling a business also. Automation systems. This is huge. So we originally got known as the inbound, the remote, and the automation people. That's what we got known as in recruitment search. The reality is we're building businesses from the ground up or scaling businesses. But I leveraged those words when I did podcasts, automation, inbound, remote, because 6, 7, 8 years ago, I recognise that's what's needed. And, schmucks will tell you what you want to hear. I'll tell you what you need to hear and say if it doesn't resonate, then we're not a fit. Absolutely great. But automation and systems, if it's not executed effectively, or if at all, you've got a problem. So the candidate market is an exact number. There are an exact number of candidates in your market. You can't dispute that. There are an exact number of candidates in your market. There's an exact science, how many replies at what stage to what message. So a campaign, how many replies at what stage of the process, what message. There's a science to that. So if you get 40-50% reply rate after 3 messages of an automated nurturing campaign, for example, then that's something you can become predictable with and reuse. So the business which has nurtured their candidate pool with automation for weeks, months, even years, has the advantage. So there are different types of automation. So we really leverage about 8 different types of automation with our recruitment search businesses, about 8 different types. And when I hear someone say we use automation, okay, great. Our business is already automated, great. Fabulous. I'm not here to persuade you. If you want help, ask. But automation is like saying my body is healthy. What does that break down into? How much water have you drank? What foods do you eat? How much sleep do you get? What exercise do you do? What's your mental state like? How's your relationships? These all feed into your physical body. And the same way with your recruitment business. To say we're automated is like me saying my body's great. It's a dumb thing to say, to be frank. And it's coming from a dumb person who went to the gym every day trying to get fit and got frustrated and pointed fingers to say they must be doing steroids. When in fact I was being dumb and I wasn't open enough to take on the information, the input that my diet sucked. It still sucks now. I'm not going to make out perfect, far from it. But I understand now if I put shit in, shit comes out. But I also understand there's 10 different types of food that I can eat. So same business with automation and systems. If you've got a business and you've got automation and you've got systems, fabulous. I don't really care right now. All I want to know is, have you hit the outcome you want to hit? Yes or no? Do you want help getting there? That's it. So the business owner, though, who knows, if they use campaign automation, so we need clients, candidates now, that's one type of automation. We've got other type of automation where we nurture that candidate for a year without ever speaking to them. It's done all online. It's 2 types of automation. But the same business who knows when they send out a campaign, and they get a 40 to 50% reply rate every time, they will probably run nurturing as well, which means the candidate's nurtured over the course of a year plus automatically. That new breed of recruitment-based business owner is smarter and they're doing less work. They're doing less work, but I truly believe, a bit like we did with the dot-com years, say I started in business, in the corporate world the year after the internet started, this boom of internet billionaires and millionaires happened. It's going to happen in recruitment. Recruitment is very simple. Clients, candidates, that's it. And we complicate it. And behind clients, candidates, there are metrics. So let's do this. Let's get this fixed. Whether you're in a place where you need to launch your business, you be working for the man and you're now looking to start your own business, or you've said, right, I need to relaunch. I'm going to a new niche, or I'm going to start again, or you're someone who is looking to scale your business. So you're looking to actually launch a scale year or two, or you're looking to create an asset to exit. Let's look at this now with some simple maths formulas, okay? So on these next 2 videos, I'm focusing on maths formulas with you. One for clients, one for candidates. See you on the next one.